It's Friday, the 22nd of October, 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
All right, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get into it. Story number 1, Woolworths says it will mandate all of its 170,000 staff be vaccinated. That is the biggest employer to do so far. Wesfarmers says it expects its workforce to get vaccinated, and Aldi said compulsory vaccinations are the way of the future.
Yes, the retailers are certainly jumping on board, Michael. All staff working across Woolworths' 1,200 retail outlets, supermarkets and Big W, and those in large warehousing and distribution centres will have to be double jabbed by March 31 next year. Wesfarmers, which owns Bunnings, Kmart, Officeworks and Target, didn't go quite as far, but its boss Rob Scott said anyone joining the retailers needed to be vaccinated, while Aldi indicated it would be going down the mandatory vaccination path. Woolies CEO Brad Banducci said the company had an obligation to make its workplaces as safe as possible. So we now have Qantas, Virgin, SPC, Telstra, BHP, Westpac, Commonwealth Bank, Woolworths, Wesfarmers and Aldi making vaccinations mandatory. Of course, aged care workers across the country must be vaccinated. Healthcare workers in New South Wales and Queensland, same deal, and construction workers in Victoria. Everyone's jumping on board. It's a good thing.
Yeah, certainly is. Story number 2 might be one that has a few people nervous. The taxman is on the prowl.
He sure is. Commissioner of Taxation Chris Jordan said he's on the hunt for more than $33 billion in missing tax, including $2.6 billion from large companies. But it gets worse. There's $12.5 billion owed by small and medium-sized businesses, and individuals owe more than $8 billion. The rest that makes up the $33.5 billion is missing from GST and other taxes. Now, Mr. Jordan said many small businesses were still operating in the cash economy and dodging tax. I'm not sure that's news. Anyway, he said there was no license not to pay tax. He said everyone should pay their fair share, and I think that's fair enough.
Yep, I agree with you on that one too. All right, story number 3. We seem to talk a fair bit about Crown Resorts, but it's a company that just keeps on popping up in the news. Yesterday, Crown received its second strike against its remuneration report, with shareholders pretty angry about payments being made to retiring executives. This is a company in a whole world of pain.
Yes, a bit like many of its patrons. Almost 31% of investors voted against the remuneration report at the AGM yesterday. That's the second strike following a vote against remuneration last year. It triggered a board spill motion, but that motion was defeated. Lots of noise without much outcome, really. Now, the interim chair, Jane Halton, said the remuneration of executives was in the best interest of the company. Many of them had worked there for a long time and had long-standing contracts. When we got to look at the detail, former CEO Ken Barton, who was asked to leave, got $6.8 million in his final year. The ex-Australian Resort chief, Barry Felsted, got $6.9 million. The former VP of Strategy and Development, Tom Nisbet, got $7.6 million. Not a good look. And then the incoming CEO, Steve McCann, who used to run Lend-Lease, he has a new contract, which Miss Holton was involved with. It's got a $5.1 million sign-on bonus and retirement rights. Miss Holton said it was in line with the market. Maybe. But I tell you what, it doesn't look great for those shareholders. Remember, we're still waiting for the outcome of the Victorian Royal Commission and whether the New South Wales government will grant Crown a casino licence.
Yeah, certainly one to keep an eye on there. Story number 4, Sean, it's basically a very handy warning about your super fund.
It is. When it comes to super funds, Michael, the returns you get depend on fees and asset allocation, where you're investing your money. It's why industry funds tend to outperform retail funds. A report from Rainmaker Information says while retail funds have reduced their administration fees, they still charge twice as much as not-for-profit funds, which of course are the big industry funds. The moral of the story undoubtedly is check the fees you're paying in your superannuation fund, because if they're a lot higher than somewhere else, you're not getting the compound interest on the money and therefore you're going backwards relative to other people.
Yeah, great advice. Story number 5. I did not think former President Donald Trump would be featuring in the top 5 business stories anytime soon, but here he is at number 5. What's the story, Sean?
Well, we know he was kicked off Twitter and Facebook. So what do you do if you're Donald Trump and you can't use social media? you create your own social media company. It's called Truth Social. It's supposed to launch early next year. That's well before the midterm elections, and it will be listed on Wall Street. Now, Mr. Trump hasn't told us whether he'll run for president again in 2024, but maybe he needs a social media presence to do it. Maybe this is all part of it.
Will you be signing up, Sean?
Absolutely. There is nothing more fun than watching Donald Trump.
All for the drama. All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 22nd of October, 2021. Make sure you're following the podcast, and if you're after something a little bit longer, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. You can always find more information as well at fearandgreed.com.au and sign up for our free daily newsletter. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fear and Greed Business Headlines. Have a great day.